Folks, we are so lucky to have the one and only Brian Anderson coming back for our weekly conversations. How you doing, Brian?
I'm good, Mike. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man.
I
Hey, one of
forgot
the
to
things,
ask you, Mike, did you
yeah,
need a vacation after vacation? Like, tell me about this.
I actually needed one day. I don't,
Okay.
coming back from having 16-hour time difference, your
Yeah,
body clock is all messed up.
for
So
sure.
I think I slept like 18 hours that first day back. So yeah, I came back the 27th, the 28th. I just basically slept and ate. That was all I did that day.
Fair enough. All right.
There you go. Well, hey, something I want to talk to you about is just the reality that negativity, clickbait, noise is first off, negativity sells. Newspapers used to say if it bleeds, it leads. If you're in YouTube, so you know negativity gets a lot more clicks than do the work and positivity. One of the things that I am trying to help people understand is how to use negativity and a mental trick I have. So I'm going to tell you a story. Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So, in the middle of November of 2022, I read a Yahoo article that said something like this. And there's a video on my channel that has this, so people can go find it. But it said 87% of buyers think now is a bad time to buy a home. It's pretty bad, right?
That's
87%.
a
That's
big number.
horrible. That's a big number, right? Biggest number I've seen. So, why I share that with you is I am broken. And I suggest most investors should be broken. So, what I did is said, I only have to compete with 13% of buyers because what I buy, my competition is often first time home buyers, right? So if 87% of you have decided to listen to the Crash Bros and sit on your hands and not do the work and just believe without investigating, go for it. So I told people, I think it was the 15th of November, that I was going to use that as an opportunity. I closed my first deal December 3rd and a second deal December 24th. 30% off list price on the MLS because everybody thought it was a bad market. So I want people to realize the more negativity, the more Crash Bros, the more clicks they get, it's good for us. I welcome people sitting on their hands. So that's how I'm broken. What do you think of all that? What do you think about negativity?
So I think I'm gonna go a little bit deeper on that.
I like it.
Whatever the media says do, I typically do the opposite,
Yeah,
right?
no doubt.
So if people understand programming, they understand that the one of the sole purposes of mass media um, is to drive their narrative to the 99 percenters, right? And this is how the 99% continue to stay the 99%, while the 1% do 1%er things, right? As you did. And so I always look at, in 2020, 2021, rates are low, everybody go buy. Mike and I knew that was a horrible time to buy because while you're getting cheaper money, you're paying 30, 40, 50% over market value. It just doesn't make sense, right? But everybody took that narrative and we went out and we stimulated the economy in ways that they wanted us to. So when I hear don't buy real estate right now, that's a clear indicator to me that I should be out there making offers because it's a perfect time to buy, right? Because to your point, there is less competition in the marketplace. There's more people who backpedaled their way into becoming an investor and didn't have the acumen to even understand what's going on right now. So they're even on the sidelines. Many of them are even getting holes from bad purchases that they made, trying to time the market to begin into the middle of 2022 and quickly started to lose their shirt towards the tail end. So I'm like you. I really believe that when I see the negativity, I personally believe that your success in life will be predicated on your perspective. And so, to your point, you look at 87% as your perspective is that means there's less competition in the market.
There's
As
about
opposed to saying
87% less.
100%, right? And so rather than being the 88%, see,
Right.
most people would just rather identify with being the 88% because if that's what everyone else is doing, then
Yeah,
it
I'm
must be
safe.
safer
I'm
for me to do that.
safe over there. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. When really you're just getting pummeled like everybody else, and you just got more people to have a pity party with, is all that's happening. But then you don't understand why there's so much of disparity and why the wealth gap continues to widen in the way that it is. So,
Yeah.
for me, if you can change your perspective, you can change your life.
Yeah, the other thing I want to talk about is a lot of negativity on rates, right? Again, rates going over 7%. I think they've backed up here, the last day or so. Um, and maybe this is, well, I'll say it this way. This is certainly an investor mindset, which is what 90% of the folks I talk to. I got to tell you, Brian, I don't care what the cost of capital is. I
Mhm.
wish interest rates were 10%. It's just one variable on my spreadsheet. It's an input. It tells me what I can afford to offer, and the seller can say no. List price doesn't mean diddly squat to me. I'm going to write the number that makes sense for me, and
Yeah.
one of those variables is cost of capital. So
Yeah.
I think too many people talk about interest rates. Now, first time home buyers and all of that, different game.
Sure.
That's not one rental at a time, right? That's, I
Sure.
talk to
Sure.
investors mainly.
I echo that same sentiment, Mike. For me, um, there's always a deal to be made at the right price that supports the cost of capital, right? It just is. And so if rates are 10%, I'm gonna go find deals that produce 20, 30%, and I'm
Exactly.
gonna still print money while everybody else is on the sidelines. And the beautiful part about rates is that it's impacting everybody.
Exactly. It's a great equalizer.
It's a great equalizer, right? And so some will know how to maneuver around that while others won't, and they'll just go sit still, which means there's less competition in the marketplace yet again. So now I'm not bothered by rates. Rates are an indication that people are still lending money. And so
Oh
as long
yeah.
as they're still lending money, that means that I can go do deals if I can find ways to custom fit around whatever that rate is.
Yeah. I'm curious, Brian. I don't know this, so we'll just see where this goes. Um, these 7 deals you did last year, were they all bank lending? Were they seller financing? Were they non-QM loans? How'd you finance stuff last year?
Yeah, so I was using on my smaller multis, I bought I think a 4 unit, 3 unit, two duplexes, maybe three duplexes. I used a fix and rent
Okay.
program for those, right? So I do this strategically because this particular lender that I use, I know I can do a cash out refi with no seasoning requirement as long as I
Ah,
originate with them on a
sure.
fix and rent. So I
Okay.
come in, I do a quick 20K lipstick, get in and out, and then refi, pull my initial capital back out, and then hold for long-term debt after that, right?
Okay.
And so I use that strategy for the smaller multis, and then on the larger ones, I started to buy vacant buildings because in my market, it's
And your
taken.
market is in Michigan, right?
It's in Michigan, right? It's in Detroit primarily, and since the rent moratorium was lifted, it's been taking 6 to 9 months to get people out. So I had bought
Yeah.
a couple of buildings where I got caught, unbeknownst to me, and it's been a knockout drag out process with getting them repositioned to get these people out, then do the renovation. So I said, screw
Sure.
this. I
Yeah.
started
Empty,
buying.
please. Empty.
Yeah, I'll take them empty. And then, we'll take a couple of months to renovate, and then I'll fill my people in from day one. And so in those cases, I've used a bridge to
Sure.
long term. So I'm doing a refi on a 20 unit right now. Rates are high. I mean, they're 9%, but we're
Yeah.
still cash flowing. And I'm only doing it for 5 years, anticipating that rates will be more favorable by then.
So that's a commercial debt, I'm guessing.
That's
20
commercial
unit.
debt. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
pretty standard. Um, so 20, so you bought a 20 unit vacant. We talking boarded up, windows, doors, that whole bit?
I'm sorry. The 16 units I bought were vacant. The 20 unit was one that I had to
Oh,
reposition
neck
and
down,
had
drag out.
tenants
Okay,
in
got
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious because I bought vacant buildings not recently. This would be kind of like 2010, 11, 12. Some of them were like destroyed inside. You just had to board them up. I've bought stuff like that. Was that what we were talking about?
So 2021, I bought a building like that.
Yeah.
But these that I'm talking about last year, believe it or not, they were boarded up, but they were 80, 90% like almost
Nice.
completely
So,
renovated.
so the seller must have got in, owned them a while, got caught in the moratorium, and just said, "I'm done. Forget it.
But,
I'm out."
but what I really think happened, I think they bought these things from the tax auction in like 2017, 18,
Ah,
held them because I mean I saw this I
yeah,
saw the settlement statements. I mean, they were
they did okay.
yeah, they did all right. They made 400,000 or 500,000 a pop on both of them. So
Woo.
they picked them up for probably 40, 70 grand at that time.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
they were all international investors, believe it or not.
wow.
The
So
previous owners were all internet, like Belgium, Australia,
yeah, they were just going to the tax auctions and buying what they could, and they
for
just
sure.
just kept just held their capital there. Wow,
That's exactly what
crazy.
they did.
So So the other thing about negative noise is it's always there. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this, but the Crash Bros have been talking about a crash since 2012. They just changed the story, right? There are Crash Bros now that are buying homes based on their clickbait. It's
For
kind of
sure.
wild to think about. It's
For
wild.
sure.
Capitalism at its work, right? Feed the masses what they want and then go buy a home. It's wild to think about. But so expect it is kind of my point. It's the story's not going to change. It's funny when you talk about 2020. I have a video the second day of California lockdowns, the second day, that says, I know what's coming. They're going to do all these things. They're going to, inflation's going to run crazy. So if you can, I actually created a shirt. I'm looking at it now. It says, I use inflation to get rich. Ask me how. Because you could lock in debt sub 4 at the time, which eventually goes sub 3.
Yeah.
There are people now that have investment properties, and I have apartment buildings at 399 because I financed with I do 30-year money, non-QM lender, 399 because I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
I'm now borrowing commercial money fixed for 30 years on apartment buildings, less than the federal government can fund their debt.
Unreal.
Because I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
So inflation is real.
Speak to that really quick, Mike? Because when we talk about this negative noise, this is why it's so incumbent upon you guys to follow Mike's channel closely. I'm seriously, Mike. I mean, I'm not, just me and you. I mean, it's what Mike brings to the marketplace, real estate specifically, but then just looking at the economy as a whole is so needed because you're hearing it from somebody that has your best interests at heart, right? Not somebody else that's just spewing these things out here for whatever their interests are. And so it's just incumbent for you guys to follow along all of these various these geniuses, I like to call them, that Mike aligns himself with and in their respective sectors, and he brings on here and shares with you guys. And so again, Mike, I thank you for what you do. It's a rarity to find what you do. And I just appreciate it, man. And people can learn so much by just coming in because you do the work. And so they get to live off of your overflow of you doing the work and just sharing with them those things that you're finding and is necessary. So thank you.
Well, you are now a part of the family every Monday at 9:30. So we are so lucky to have you here. Let's just wrap it up with kind of the negativity. Again, expect it, use it to your advantage. That is my superpower in this example is I take most negativity and turn it into positive. Like 87% don't want to buy. Well, that only means my competition's 13. It's just, if you want to be in the 1%, do 1% things, not the other 90%. Brian, what is your closing thoughts and where can people find you?
My closing thoughts are assuming that those that don't know how to take negativity and flip it, just go get with positive people in the area of focus of which you want to go into that have similar aspirations and or the success that you want, and leverage and learn from those individuals. That's what I would recommend against the negativity.
Absolutely. And where can people find you?
You can find me at Brian Adamson Official on Instagram, and as well as Brian Adamson Real Estate on YouTube.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Yes, sir.